everybody, and welcome back to the HOG-POD. First of all, can I start by saying thank you to everyone that's been downloading the last few episodes. The week that was, the series that we're doing at the moment, seems to be going down really well, and we really, really appreciate your support. Pleased to say that with me again, one of my favourite people, Ben. Good to see you again, pal.
Evening, Kenny. How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain, and I know that no one would listen anyway.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, for those of you that are involved in media, you probably realise this is not take one. So we've got quite a bit to do tonight. So I think we'll start with the rear view mirror because it's been busy enough weekend. We'll start with your way over in Bonnie, Scotland, shall we?
Yeah, so we were busy. We had a cracking day at the dealership on Saturday. A lot of the chapter got together, which was really nice. And then today we have ridden from Coatbridge all the way across to Fife. So I was coming home, which is always nice on a ride out. And we went to a place called Curus, which for the entire week I've been pronouncing as Culross. And then I got corrected by someone from the West Coast, which is pretty embarrassing. So that's like a cool little village. We came literally all the way through the countryside, right along the one bank of the Forth, over the Queensferry crossing, which is always exciting, more so today with the gusts of wind, and down back into deepest, darkest Fife and along the coast, past the point of a village called Toryburn, which wasn't mentioned until we got to the pub. I like Toryburn. It's the site of the last witch, or the last woman accused of witchcraft in Scotland, and her grave site's still there. Someone pinched her body a while ago because they're a bit odd like that. But yeah, so that's in Toryburn if you're interested. A lady called Lilius A.D., so I'm told.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, Ben. Every time I speak with you, I learn something, which I'm never going to need. But one day I'm going to be sat in a quiz in a bar, and there's going to be a question about the last witch in Scotland, and I'm going to go, fuck, I've got this.
What's her name though, Kenny?
Ah, shit, you've just said it as well. Lilibet.
Almost. Yeah. Lilius A.D. And she wasn't a witch, and despite the claims, she wasn't killed either. She actually decided to end her life in a prison cell to avoid the sort of embarrassment and dishonour of being killed by people on a false accusation. And they were that scared of her, they waited for the tide to go out, dug a hole in the mud, and put her body in there with a whacking great stone over the top of it.
What can I say, Ben? Again, you're a fountain of knowledge, as always. It must be a silent L in Culross or whatever you call it, because I had a quick look at what you were doing today, and I've been going Culross. Yeah. That sounds quite Scottish,
Curus,
actually.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Curus.
Since when did L's become silent?
Yeah, there's also a place called Mulgai there, and that's actually spelt Milngavie, which nearly caused me a fight with a taxi driver the first time I went there.
When I first moved over to Northern Ireland, I spent about a week looking for a place called Grenisland and a place called Doe. Apparently, it was Green Island, and Doak is the name. So any locals over here will probably have a chuckle at that. But the attendance-wise, how was it today? Was there plenty of bikes out? Because I don't know about you, but the weather we had, you wouldn't have bet 5 pence on it.
No, so we had like horrendous weather forecasts. It was not meant to be a good day at all. I think we had about 15 bikes out actually, which was not our biggest turnout in terms of ride outs, but still like a good solid number of bikes. Good fun to be at the back sweeping it and seeing all the road crew doing what they were doing. So yeah, good turnout, just not quite as big as sometimes.
Well, same for ourselves over in Belfast with Busy Enough Weekend. We had our chapter meeting yesterday in the dealership. Now, the weather was pretty cack, so we weren't expecting any bikes. Attendance-wise, it was a brave enough crowd, to be honest with you. But I think everyone was they took a beat on it because of the ride out today. So there was a ride out today called Castles and Chips, or Chips and Castles. Mark, in fact, it was Mark running the ride out. In fact, Lexi, our friend Lexi, the Queen of Darkness, was in a bright pink fluorescent vest today, which was great to see her in something other than just black. But I know yesterday or Sunday today, yesterday he was talking about maybe cancelling that or making a call on it on safety grounds because of the predictions. And it didn't start raining until probably 6 o'clock today. So yeah, we did all right. Outside of HOG, there was a big rally on, wasn't there? Stormin the Castle.
Yes, Stormin the Castle took place in Durham. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing the Pink Panther theme tune at you this week.
I'm going to Durham. And the reason is as I only got it when I was editing.
Oh, dear.
I thought it was actually the home of the Pink Panther, not the cartoon, the detective guy. And then I went, Durham. So there we go. Yeah. Bit slow off the mark.
My jokes just aren't landing at the minute. So my 2 American friends that were with me, I dropped them off at Dunfermline Abbey. You can't park, so I quickly whizzed the van round inside. And as I'm leaving, I stuck my head out. I was like, guys, remember, you're in the dead centre of Dunfermline, because they were looking at all the headstones. And they just gave me the thumbs up as I drove off. And then we were having dinner that night. I was like, you didn't get my dad joke, did you? They're like, oh, we weren't. No. It's all right if I have to explain it stops being funny. Anyway, back to storming the castle. So the castle was well and truly stormed by the look of things. I had a group of mates were there. To the sort of jumbled messages that I got, which indicates they're having a very good time when they can't spell. It seems to have been a success. There was a few sort of like niggles to start off with. Apparently one of the big complaints this year was the lack of barbecues, because it's been such a good summer. For safety reasons, they were allowed propane-powered barbecues with no fire bricks. There was very specifics, no fire bricks or combustibles, and they could use camping stoves, but they had to be at least 2 feet off the ground, because if it's 1.5 feet off the ground, that's when disasters happen. That aside, it seems to have been a really good event. I had a quick look at their band lineup. There's been some absolute stalwarts in there. Like, you keep saying Rally Furniture. They go to a lot of rallies. They are received really well at the rallies. So Clearwater Credence Revival, I've seen them personally at Thunder twice. And you get to the point with that band, you know, like the old sketches where you used to see the hook come on and the artist got pulled off the stage like that. Those guys know how to party. And the first time I went to see them, I made a joke because they were on at 7 o'clock. I was like, yeah. It's because the care home's got a curfew. They were partying and rocking harder than I was. By the end of their set, I'm like, please, somebody take them off. I need to catch my breath. They just know how to rock, and they do it really well.
Sure, they did it. They did it the first time round properly, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Not just like the repop that I am. Yeah. The next band along was the Choir Boys, which I have heard them once. I still need to start listening to their stuff. They're a favourite of yours, apparently.
Oh, I love the Choir Boys. Absolutely love the Choir Boys. Although I've had mixed reports about them of late and playing live.
I think it's always a danger, isn't it? If you keep going, you reach a point where you're not what you once were. And I was having a chat about that the other day, actually. I think there's certain bands that just need to... They can't be short of the money, and they're just damaging their own legacy at the minute. They've been this epic band that everyone wants to go and see, and then you go and see them, you're like, ooh... I wish I hadn't done that. Trying to get past that memory back into what they were.
And do you know who's the same as well when it comes to that? And it kills me to say this. Axl Rose, Guns N' Roses. I don't know if you heard him singing like in 2024, 2025, and the memes that were being produced of Mickey Mouse and oh man, it's from a guy that was able to sing like he could sing before even auto-tune was a thing to what he does now. I say just too many trips to the well. Yeah.
Maybe you should lay down on a bed of roses for a bit.
Is that not Bon Jovi?
Oh, it is. Shit.
It is. Twat.
Oh, and I thought I was funny.
It was a good attempt, though.
I'll give up now. And the last band I want to mention is Bessie and the Zinc Buckets.
Oh, great
they're
guys.
They're a cracking band. Yeah, so I'm a double bass player. I'm nowhere near as good as the chap in the band. He runs up his double bass and stands on it while he's playing, which is a funky trick I might try if I wasn't fat. Impressive. I just don't know what the weight load of my double bass is, so I've never risked it.
There'll be a sticker
they
on
always
the
seem
back.
to have a really good following. There's not a safe working load, funnily enough. There's lots of other things on there, but not that.
So I saw them at Thunder last year,
Yeah.
Geordie boys, or certainly Northeastern, just in case they're Mackhams.
Don't get that wrong.
Great set of lads. Music was absolutely banging. They were the support act for... Oh, I'm trying to rack my brains now. Who were they on before? Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gun came on after them. They were absolutely brilliant, got the place absolutely bouncing. And I never saw him jumping up and down on the bass, but I tell you what, he could play it like.
And they've got their own following as well. See, if you get best in the zinc buckets along to a rally, you're guaranteed a good chunk of ticket sales because people literally seem to just follow them round. It's quite impressive to watch.
Yeah, have you heard of Stiff Little Fingers?
I have, yes.
Yeah, so they were, I think, same sort of thing. They were playing in Custom House Square here, not 3 weeks ago, and same again. I think that there's a Northern Ireland contingent that follow them all over the place.
Yeah, ferocious dog. So I have a friend that literally travelled all over the UK. Ian and Kate, they went in their camper van, and it was a bit like. When they were telling a story, I was like, that sounds like the Grateful Dead. Literally followed them every gig and turned up and had a whale of a time the whole way around. And then the only other thing to mention about Storm, and unfortunately he's been safely returned, but somebody pinched the Hob Goblin artwork. Somebody that doesn't have superstitions. You don't mess about with Hob Goblin.
No.
You certainly don't take him out of his bar. No.
So busy old weekend, which is good to see in the middle of August. We are starting to run out of time, aren't we, with the season? Again, says the northern-based boys here, because anyone that lives a bit further down south, we don't take a season on or off. We ride all year round. I definitely, you're just not riding all year round in Northern Ireland. And now there are people in Northern Ireland going, Kenny, stop being there.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So I was having a look just around the other chapters for HOG, not HOG, and New Forest, right the way down there in Southampton there. In fact, the reason I was looking at this chapter is I'm pretty sure I saw Fiona Gilbert receiving her banner from Craig at the Dunedin tent at Thunder.
Yeah, Fiona was there.
Yeah, so I saw her and I was like, I must have a look at their website, see what they're doing. The last time I actually bumped into her, or actually the only time I bumped into her, because we used to message quite a bit on Facebook, was in, do you remember Fields of Thunder in Leighton Buzzard?
Yes.
Three Rivers and Neen Valley. They took a punt at this. Unfortunately, they got beat by this named weather warning that came in. It was absolutely vile weather-wise, but I saw her there, and it was lovely to meet her. But on that, what a perfect opportunity for Fields of Thunder to potentially be revived for next year if people can get onto it quick enough.
Yeah, there's definitely space for it.
Yeah, so I know you weren't there, but for those that didn't go there, or for those of you were there, you'll remember the weather. But the actual venue itself, the potential of it is absolutely fantastic. So I met Roadskin there for the first time. They had a big separate glamping area, these big wigwam type tents, so the big thick canvas ones, absolutely bomb proof. They were. Loads of traders. The music was actually really, really good. I couldn't tell you who any of the bands were, but the music was absolutely fantastic. And I remember looking at it, thinking, God, if it wasn't underwater, this would be such a good venue. So, if any of these that were involved in that are listening, I would definitely take a look at it for 2026, because we're all going to be looking for an event to go to on the mainland that to not replace Thunder. I don't like the word replace, but in place of Thunder. But anyway, so I was looking at the New Forest chapter website, and it looks like they are doing their regular trip to Europe.
Nice.
So we have it obviously in the Belfast chapter. I haven't done a European trip yet, but if you go onto their website, they seem to be massively into the planning, because they do this by the looks of it every single year. It seems to be a great wee template they've done. Have you done a Euro trip yet, Ben?
So I did in 2019, so like a lifetime ago. I went to the Benelux rally, and we had different ways of getting there through the chapter. Some people flew, some people rode to Newcastle, some people rode all the way down and took the tunnel, and then we all congregated in, I think it was Garderen in Holland. So that was good fun. Other than that, that's as far into Europe as I've got.
Yeah, so I haven't done any motorcycling in Europe yet. Anyway, I've been right across Europe, involved with HOG, but not on the motorcycle. But it's definitely something I'm looking at some point. Jared, bless him, God, he can't stay out of Europe. He's pretty much completed Europe. He absolutely loves it over there. But the New Forest guys, what they've got a thing coming up next weekend. So obviously, the weekend coming is the Diva Legion rally, but they seem to have a contingent doing a 2-day trip up in the Brecon Beacons.
Right.
For any ex-military people, or the term fan dance, I'm sure will make you absolutely sick as a dog. That's all done up around the Brecon Beacons. And I tried to learn the Welsh for this actually, and I'm going to give it a go. Hang on. Banai Brehiciog.
Oh, spoken like a native.
There you go. And because I know you don't know it, you can't correct it, but that's what it is. But so they've got this 2-day trip going up there Saturday, Sunday, which is a fair old hike for them, actually. They're based down in Southampton. And, geography-wise, because I was also having a look at the Plymouth chapter as well, and they're doing a quick ride out to Land's End. And I immediately was like, God, that's miles. Oh, hang on a minute. Actually, for them, it's less than 2 hours away to get to Land's End.
Yeah. And sadly, 2 cracking dealerships that aren't there anymore. Having been to both of them, the welcome that I had at both. Southampton at the time had Lloyd as the dealer principal. He got a tech waiting for me. So I was doing my Iron Hog run, and he had a tech waiting for me to check my bike the minute I got off. And then Plymouth, I was there too early, and it was shut. But I was met by a Plymouth chapter member who apologised for giving me a BLT because he couldn't guarantee to keep a bacon body warm. I was like, mate, this time in the morning, I'm just happy to eat anything. And he got wicked Filipino coffee as well. Guy called Ray. So I've caught up with Ray a couple of times on the phone. Good man.
So Paul Renshaw, their former director, he's treasurer now. He was over at the Hog-POD actually, and the Plymouth chapter won furthest travelled to get to us. So sort of opposites there, literally an hour and 40 minutes away from Land's End, but bloody miles and hours and days away from coming up to Northern Ireland.
How did they do it?
I actually don't know. I imagine that the most sensible one would be to go to Wales, get Holyhead to Dublin, and then Dublin up to us, because they see the idea of going from Plymouth to Stranraer. I mean, the idea of just doing that road from Carlisle to Stranraer is bloody awful. It's an awful run, especially if you're running slightly late and you're trying to get to the boat at the same time as wagon after wagon after wagon after wagon.
The approach to Cairnryan or Stranraer, they should be really nice roads, and they are, and they're quite idyllic. But the amount of heavy traffic that's on them, and it's constant, isn't it? Because they're all trying to get to the boat, and it doesn't matter what time we do it at. And for us, the thing that coming to Hob-POD, the truck show is always on at Ingliston. So there's tons of trucks coming off the boat at you when you're trying to get to Cairnryan, ready to get to Truckfest. And then when you're coming back, you're just meeting them coming the other way. And it's just, I quite like it because I'm a bit sad. I saw a Scania Frost edition, in terms of useless information that you don't need to know. A limited edition truck, effectively, and they all wet themselves when we stopped at the ferry, because I was like, did anybody else see that Frost? And they weren't quite as excited as I was. I don't know why.
So I recognise the name Scania. So when I was 17? Yeah, it must have been 17, because I bugged out of the UK at 18. I worked for a transport company doing on their logistics desk, actually. I didn't do very well at school, but I can see patterns. Obviously, it's just part of my brain makeup. So I was quite good at logistics, and all the guys, all I remember the name was Scania. Scania, I presume is a big brand of truck, yeah. And they'd all have apps. So was it the Scania Actros? Is that one? I think it was
the Actros is a Mercedes.
Mercedes Actros, that's right. That was the other one then, yeah. So it was some Scania and then the Actros, and they all used to go absolutely mad about it.
Well, I fancy it. And you can, if you take the fifth wheel off, you can have it replated and use it as a vehicle with the right license. And a very famous boxer did it with a bullnose truck for a very long time.
Go on.
Mr. Eubanks. Chris Eubanks used to drive a big Peterbilt truck as his daily driver.
Is Eubanks Senior?
Yes, yeah.
Bloody hell, I didn't know that.
You know those people that we said about, like, stop while the going's good? I don't know if you've seen any recent interviews with Eubanks Senior, but yeah, stop while the going's good.
Yeah, he is. He's lost the plot. If he ever had it, do you know what I mean? He's an eccentric guy. I don't know if you saw the interview. He was being interviewed. He'd fallen out with his son. It was just before the Conor Ben. And he started getting cross, and he supposedly slipped into his mother tongue of Rastafarian. Did you see that interview?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wearing that big coat, which was apparently the bear that he'd killed.
Yeah, absolute lunatic. Box. Yeah. What, you know, don't get me started on boxing. I could take up the next 3 hours with the boxing. But I don't know if you've ever been onto the Plymouth website. They've got a magazine called High Decibel.
Oh, cool. I need to have a look. I haven't, no, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so I'm always interested to see how other chapters communicate their information out. So Birmingham, they do this thing called the HOG-Cast. I know I've spoke with you about it previously. I love what they do. It's basically an audible newsletter. But the Plymouth guys, anyway, they do this High Decibel magazine. And it was in there that I saw that they were doing this trip to Land's End. So that's where I was going with it, Land's End, yeah. So next year, we are going to do the Land's End John O'Groats.
Okay. You're committing me to a lot of stuff on recordings, and I can't get out of it, can I?
Yeah, listen, Ali will understand. You always say how wonderful your wife Ali is.
Incredible.
And I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I know she listens in the car with you as well. And I wasn't to throw you under the bus by repeating all of the wonderful, wonderful things you say about her. But I think on this occasion we can.
Okay.
So I'm going to let you pick whether we start in John O'Groats or whether we start in Land's End. I think for both of us, it might be better to start in Land's End. But I was thinking we can call into Plymouth while we're there.
Is it best to start in Land's End, though? Because if you're coming across to Cairn Ryan, we're not that far from John O'Groats, and then go down the way.
I'm thinking psychologically we're pointing the right way, because by the time we get to Land's End, I haven't done the interview with Talon and Deborah.
Yeah.
And it was something you said, and I was like, God, he's right, you know. See the idea of doing John O'Groats to Land's End and high-fiving each other and going, yeah, we made it, and then having to turn around and ride all the way back again. At least if we start in Land's End, we're fresh, and by the time we get to John O'Groats, we're not really that far away from, the house.
But we are going to use more fuel doing it that way because you're travelling north and you don't have gravity on your side.
What's been happening with you on your side for Hog, not Hog?
So for my side, I've been having a wee look at things. So I had a look at the Great Western chapter. So they are meeting the Bat Out of Hell tour. So I think by the time this goes out, they'll have already done that. So it's Monday, the 1st of September. it's great to see that there's still an engagement with Bat Out of Hell. So I did it a couple of years ago when it came to the Edinburgh Playhouse. I helped Clyde Valley organise this time round. So at the start of the year, it's just a cracking night. Like, it's just so much fun turning up, making a bit of a noise, and the cast are always cracking as well. Like, I don't know how it was when they were in Belfast, but in Edinburgh and in Glasgow, the cast come out, they meet you, they get on the bikes. It's a good opportunity for PR shots as the audience are queuing up to come in. They love it as well. So yeah, I think it's a brilliant event, and it's good to see that we've still got an engagement with that.
Bat Out of Hell, that's been good. It has to be at least 2 years that's been going now. That is some going.
I think longer. I think it's actually 3, because I did it a good couple of years ago in so, as you know, multi-chapter boy. I did it with Dunedin at Edinburgh, and we also met them up in Aberdeen as well. And we've done that since. But it's a cracking show. Did you go and see the show after you did the?
Do you know what?
Out?
No, I did have access to a ticket, but for whatever reason, there was something else, and I just wasn't able to get to it. But obviously, I went down. As you said, that the cast love it. The punters waiting to get in. They absolutely loved it, and someone that had a sound system as obnoxious as yours on their CVO had the Bat Out of Hell album playing out, not in brass, actually the studio album, absolutely giving it Dixie.
I played the original when I was there too.
Do you have Bat Out of Hell as a brass?
I don't, but now you've said it, I'm going to make damn sure I've got it for the next time we're riding somewhere together. And would you like a useless fact about Bat Out of Hell?
Always.
So, the one thing that most people get wrong when they go and see it is they think it's just going to be like a rendition of all the Meatloaf songs, and it's absolutely not. So, Steinman had the idea to retell the Peter Pan story. So, Bat Out of Hell is actually a modern retelling of the Peter Pan story using the Meatloaf tunes to be the vehicle for it.
Tell me you're shitting me.
I'm absolutely not, because he actually wanted to call it Neverland. And when you look at it, it starts to make sense. So the main character, the sort of protagonists that are on the bikes are called the Lost. And they're a group of guys and girls that were stunted at a certain age by a big chemical nuclear accident in their world. And then you've got like Hook is like a media mogul, and it's his daughter that they're falling in love with. So there you go, retelling a Peter Pan.
My God, I actually genuinely thought it was the Bat Out of Hell story this entire time.
No. No, not at all. Ali thought the same. So when we went to see it, we got to the interval and she's like, I haven't got a clue what's going on. Like, what are we actually watching? And then I explained it to her. She said, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go and see it now, to be honest.
No, it is good. It's really good. And the staging, so used to be a stage manager. They use all the tricks that I really love. And the one bit of thing, or one bit of kit. So you and I have had conversations before, if you remember. My mantra is hide the tech, amplify the magic. Mm-hmm. So they have a thing called a shark tooth gauze, which if you have a light at the front of it, you can't see through it. And if you put a light behind it, then you can see through it. And they just use that throughout the show. And it's fantastic. The bike is an incredible bit of kit as well. Like, the staging and the production of it is brilliant. And the singers, like, hat off to them. Like, total tip my hat to them to sing like that as long as they do, night after night after night. And these guys and girls are out there. Do you know what I mean? They're on tour proper. Yes, you've got alternative cast members. You've got people that step in. But even still, they are hammering it out night after night. And it's, well worth the watch.
We've actually got some of our members, the Belfast chapter, are coming across to your part of the world on the weekend of the 19th of September for their Finn McCool weekend. I know that you're going to know the answer to this. Do you know the story of the Giants?
So apparently there was 2 of them, and they like to have a scrap. I had to write down the name. Ben and Donna was our fighter over here. And he was giving Finn McCool a run for his money. Yeah. And apparently that's where Isla Craig comes from. So there's a big rock on the way to, when you ride the coast round to Cairn Ryan. And interestingly, another useless fact, that is the only place you can harvest granite for an Olympic curling stone. And the reason being, they have the 2 types of granite you require to make the stone.
They're coming across to your way with quite a big contingent. They did it last year as well. They absolutely loved it. It's Anne and Adrian Watson from our chapter that sort of run that, and again, I think they filled it out completely to come across to that way, and they're there for a few days. In fact, they might be nipping into West. I think they might be nipping into West Coast. Yep. So I think last time they went over, they were met by the Geordies. And the Geordies actually presented the chapter with a plaque, their wooden friendship plaques that they do, because it was after the unfortunate loss that they lost one of their members at the HOG-POD rally last year. So the Geordies they met Anne and Adrian and everyone else. Apparently, it was quite an emotional thing.
Yeah, so like you said, they were met by the Geordies. I think the one person as well that's fairly instrumental in the trip from this side, almost like a fixer, if you will, is Jed Dooley. He's a member of the chapter, Belfast. And then you've got the McIntyres as well, if you've never had the pleasure of meeting Margot and Jim, or Margot or Jim. They're both a fantastic couple and they ride like all the time. They're always out on the bikes. It's cracking to see. And it's a brilliant bit of the country. Like everyone focuses on the North Coast 500 and getting up into the Highlands. And don't get me wrong, that is fantastic. But the borders and that area of Scotland, the scenery is incredible. The roads are really good. Lots to get done. Hopefully we're going to catch up with them. So I was chatting to Jed. He's going to bring me up to speed on what the plan is and see if we can get some Clyde Valley riders out with them as well. Might be a slight challenge. So Clyde Valley have got a thing called HOG-POD coming up. So we did it last year and it was a big success. So you've got Clyde Valley riding down to Blackpool. They're going to have a weekend. The illuminations. Last year, one of our members, Davey, had to ride back with a unicorn strapped to the handlebars of his Sportster because he got lucky at the arcades. Made for an interesting ride back looking at the pictures, and Red Rose are going to catch up with those guys while they're down there as well. So we've got lots of inter-chapter stuff going on this sort of next coming weekend, haven't we? And it's really good to see that as well. I think that's what HOG's about and what we should be fostering and encouraging. Don't look inwards to your chapter, look outwards to others and get them involved with things.
Yes, no, exactly. No, it's always good to see, and especially when you hear about it a lot, and it's always nice to see it actually in action, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So moving off HOG to the not HOG, I didn't know this until a couple of days ago. Motorcycle News are celebrating their 70th birthday. Yeah, so they're having a birthday bash, which is on, I'll put all again sort of details in the notes, but if any of you are handy to Solihull, which is sort of southeast of Solihull.
Solihull. You're just trying to be too posh, Kenny. Solihull. Yeah,
Solihull, right, okay. Right.
And everybody in the West Midlands is now glaring at me because they would pronounce it properly and differently to me. Solihull is where I've always known it from in my 8 years of growing up in the West Midlands before I was moved to civilization.
Right. Well, if any of you are handy to Solihull, then
there you go.
It'd definitely be worth a visit. It's being held at the National Motorcycle Museum on September the 7th between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. No doubt that will be an absolute cracker of a day. National Motorcycle Museum, I've never been, actually, but I know they're very, very good to Birmingham chapter. I think they use that as a bit of a base.
So if Ali's listening to this section, I've never been either. If she's turned off by this point, I go to a conference in Birmingham annually, and I'm not going to name the conference either. But the one year rhyme with? I got a little bit... Nothing. I got a little bit distracted and I was literally right next door to the motorcycle museum and I might have got lost. I went to the toilet and I couldn't help myself. Absolutely cracking, like really, really cool. And see if you want, they're very focused on British bikes. So that was like a whole history of British motorcycling. They're starting to bring other bikes in as well now, I think, as well. So there's more bikes there. And then the only other thing that's an absolute must, there is a Peacock that apparently flew over the road and has never gone back because of the amount of biscuits that the tourists feed him.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do like peacocks.
So there's a happy little peacock. No, they're good-looking birds, don't get me wrong, but they're a pain in a hoop.
Yeah, there's a Peacock. So there's a little coffee place I use up on the north coast called the Sea Shed, and they've got Peacock, and it's brilliant. Every time I go out to it, his tail goes up. I don't know whether it's flirting with me or wanting to fight me, but I just think they're a stunning bird. Absolutely love them.
Yeah. Are you going to add to your sort of collection? Well, you gather animals. You're like Dr. Dolittle or Noah. I can't decide which one
I'm
it
with
is.
you now. Yeah, no. So I'm currently trying to get a llama. Not a llama. No, not a llama. What's the other one called? Acapulco. Alpaca. That's it. Not Acapulco. No, Acapulco is a capital somewhere, isn't it? But yes, I would have a peacock. Okay. The problem is I have a big retriever dog that would no doubt turn it into a bloody peacock jigsaw.
Yeah, they're not that quick and they're not that clever. That's the issue.
And do peacocks fly?
I think they're capable of it. I just don't think they do it very well.
Yeah,
they must be able to, because the farm is the other side of the M42. So they have to be able to fly, because it certainly didn't cross the M42 to get to the motorcycle museum.
There, I'm going to have to Google. In fact, you know what? Okay, I'm going to Google this. Yes, they can fly, but not for long distances or sustained periods. There we go. Mission over. So, yep, September the 7th, they've got this. The week after in the same place, so Sunday the 14th, this is another the motorcycle news event is a free one. I am going to provide a link to the ticket place. I think you need to get a ticket, inverted commas, just so they can manage numbers, but it's a free event. The following week, in exactly the same place, you'll be familiar with the name Henry Cole. Henry Cole does the motorbike show, Shed and Buried, Junk and Disorderly, all those shows. Well, they are, he is launching his online platform on the 14th of September. And again, it's free to go to. If you click the link that's in the description and go along and, get to meet Henry Cole and, find out a little bit more about what's going on. But essentially, they're bringing the motorbike show online, and there's going to be all sorts of sort of sneaky peeky stuff. And I do like that guy. I was watching an episode today of his where he was drag racing, and I don't mean dressing as a girl and not dressing as a girl and legging it down the road. The actual drag bikes. There was one called the Yellow Peril, but he went into a tank slapper about 10 seconds into it and couldn't get out of it, which was an interesting watch.
The sort of programs that you see, I've watched quite a bit of Shed and Buried. Just the enthusiasm, isn't it? Like, he's super excited when he's looking at stuff, and his ability to see things. So you're looking at just a pile of rust sometimes, aren't you, on these programs? Mm-hmm. And he knows what it's going to look like by the time they're done, and is excited at the end product, which I think is always cool and quite makes you want to do stuff, doesn't it, in terms of like go and actually think you can fix something, and then you get stuck in the garage 4 hours later for a half-hour job.
Yeah, needing needing about 7 tools that you don't have. That's the biggest thing I find with doing jobs is it takes half an hour if you have the right tool.
And Ali won't let me get an oxyacetylene torch that apparently loosens all bolts, because they can't be stuck if they're liquid.
Yeah, I'm not sure why she's not allowing you to play with that, Ben, but knowing you as I do, I can take a bit of a bloody stab at it.
I've got a good idea as well, but yeah.
So also on my trawl of the internet, I found an interesting thing. Bennett's Insurance, all right? So can I say, first of all, straight away, there is no commercial link between us and Bennett's, which is good, because I think they're about to get a shoe-in from Ben. But they have one of the most incredible resources, which I've only just found out. That again, there's a link for it in the description. They have the yearly calendar for motorcycle events in the UK. Over 1,000 events listed, from superbike meets to local little meets to all of the Ace Cafe and Bike Shed and all their like events, etc. It's an absolutely fantastic resource. And I know that we were talking off camera about this, and you said that they had to be good for something.
Just throw me under the bus. Fortunately, I don't use Bennett's for my own insurance, but I haven't exactly heard the greatest things about them. I think they give competitive rates, but like the sort of stories, and it's exactly that. Like I can't say for 100% because I've never had to. I'm not insured by them, and I've never had to need them. But just quite a few people that I've spoken to, they're brilliant up until the point that you actually have a problem. But that's anecdotal, and I wouldn't want to swear by it.
And not all insurance companies like that, though.
You're just trying to get me in trouble, Kenny. Like, I've actually just had a really good bit of news from my insurance company on my super exciting Motor Guzzi V7 2 that cost me the better part of £700 to insure last year because me and my dad, no claims, and they tried to tell me it was a powerful vehicle. So I asked them to check the other vehicle that they had insured for me and realised there's about a BMW GS difference in capacity. And then they tried to tell me it was an expensive vehicle. So I explained the £3,000 that it was insured for to please go and check the other vehicle they insured, roughly about 10%. But it's actually come down by £500 this year. So no, they're not
Very
always
good.
bad. Yes, and that's a company that I've used for the last 6 years, but we're not commercially linked with them. So if you'd like to find out, find me at another time and I'll tell you off camera.
There you go. So I am currently, so my renewal is due for my Ultra Livewire, as you keep calling it. And so I'm obviously looking at insurance for a renewal. Guess how much they wanted to, or guess how much I've been quoted for a 2001 Heritage Softail Classic. Doing, I think I put down 5,000 miles a year. Guess how much they want to charge me?
I'm guessing the high end of three figures.
£82.40.
Wow.
Yeah, I kid you not. So, but I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here because I listen to people who, now listen, my bike is not like yours. It's not a CVO. It's not like a lot of the bikes out there that are worth, 30 and 40,000 off the rail. My bike is 25 years old now. And I thought 82 quid. So I had a bit of a look at it, and so last year I paid £110 for my bike to be insured.
Yeah.
So it's come down a wee bit because this year, when it came to employment status, I moved it from employed to retired. And now, because I'm retired, and I like to say that to you, Ben, because I'm 46 and retired, and I'm sure you have a busy week ahead of you. But 82 quid to insure that bike.
So did you say 25 years old?
25 years old, yeah.
Okay, so are they regarding that as a classic bike at that point?
I don't think so yet. No, because I still have to pay tax. I think I always will have to pay tax, actually, even when it gets to a certain age, isn't it? I think the classic refers to old cars pre the sort of tax environment.
I think they've changed the rules recently. So it used to be, that's why I was asking about the 25 years. There used to be something about once a vehicle reached 25 years or something along those lines. But then obviously there were so many like enthusiasts keeping things alive that I think the government have realised that they can't rob you if they give it classic status, because you're exempt from MOT and from tax at that point. So I think they've changed the rules recently. It's good to hear that, though. And if it covers everything you need it to cover and you're familiar and confident in them, have at it.
I use one of those comparison sites. CompareNI.com is exactly what I used. Put in the details. And I don't know if you've ever used those compare websites, but you get the one at the top, which is the cheap quote, and you go, oh, yeah, that's brilliant. But being me, I always scroll to the bottom just to see. And there's some companies saying, yeah, we'll do it for £1,800. Would you like to insure yourself today with us? And I don't know whether there's something wrong with their algorithm or if that is genuinely what they're offering to quote on to cover the bike. £1,720 difference between the top and the bottom.
So I can trump that. When I first bought my Street Glide Special, I did exactly that. I went on the comparison websites, and one of them came back at an £8,000 premium. So I thought, I've got to phone them. I can't not. Do you know what I mean? You have to phone that number up. So they answered the phone, having a chat with them. I was like, can you just talk me through what the excess is? Well, Mr. Vale, there's a voluntary excess of £4,000. I was like, okay, doing the maths. And then there's a mandatory excess of £4,000. And we recommend that you take both. I was like, well, you said voluntary at the start, so... But we'll do the maths. I said, right, so I take both of the excesses that you'd like me to take, and then I have a problem. That's going to cost me £16,000 overall. Yes, Mr. Vale. I was like, you don't really want my business at that point, do you? They're like, the telephone line's recorded, Mr. Vale. I said, well, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Dunk. Yeah.
£16,000.
Yeah, £16,000. In fairness, I'd had my license like less than a year at that point, because I was daft enough to buy a brand new Street Glide, having just got off a £500 Lex Moto. Yeah, so not exactly the wisest thing to do.
Presumably, you found insurance for less than 16 grand.
Surprisingly enough, yes, I did. And it was very good insurance. And I'm actually still with that insurance company now. And they've been excellent. I think sometimes the bits that you referenced there, the bits that you put on. So I have Flex Ride cover, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And it says that you're insured to ride any bike in the UK as long as it's insured and you have the owner's permission. I was like, awesome. That's going to get me on everything. And then you start riding with Harley Davidson riders and you read the small print, and that only covers you on bikes up to the value of £10,000. And straight away you can write off pretty much most bikes, can't you, at that point?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Do you know what? That's one thing I need to actually have a look at, is to see whether or not I'm able to ride other people's bikes. I've always made sure it's included, but for this bargain price of 82 quid, and I know that there'll be people going, why on earth would you have a Harley Davidson insured for 82 quid? What if something goes wrong? What if it gets taken? Blah, blah, blah. I think it insures me up to, I don't know, well, certainly it has all the medical stuff on it, up to like 5 million and public liability, not public liability, they call it third party injury stuff up to 2 million and all that kind of stuff. But I must check actually about the Flex Ride or whatever it is that they call it. Either way, 82 quid. I just thought, absolutely, I'll have a little bit of that. It always has to be insured on my birthday, which is the day that I got my bike. So it's always an easy one to remember when the insurance is going to run out. It's also the same day that my HOG renewal comes out as well, because, well, actually, it doesn't always come out on that date. I don't know what's going on with the HOG customer service, but the dates seem to be all over the place. Sometimes it's a little early. Sometimes it can be a month late, but it always ends up getting taken.
I don't have the same issue. I used my COVID pay, well, what was left after the government taxed me on that, to become a life member. So I'm not good with dates and I'm not good with renewals. So I just thought, sod it, get that done. Going to be riding long enough, made sense. So I don't have to worry about renewals.
Bikes of the week, mate.
Yes, bikes of the week. I am quite excited by these. So I spend a lot of time looking at bikes, and I spend a lot of time looking at dealerships and what they've got available, and sticking with the sort of weird and wonderful theme. So last week's bike of the week, I think that was right out there. Loved it. Really cool bike. Seafoam green. I've stuck on the same theme. And I found two more oddities that I think people will either love or hate, or they'll certainly pique your interest. The second, I think it's far more accessible to everybody, so we'll get on to that one. But the first one that I found is a 1953 WL750 Servi-Car, which has to be one of the funkiest things Harley have put out, and manufactured themselves, actually, because they did put out some funky bikes that were made in Italy and had the badge like 250s and 2-strokes and odd stuff. But the Servi-Car is just super cool. And like, people go on about how Harley never used to make trikes up until such a time that they brought out the Tri-Glide and the Freewheeler. They did. They made them ages ago, and they were aimed at like mobile mechanics. So if you can imagine, it looks like the front end of a normal WL bike, so you know what you're looking at in terms of what that looks like. It has a 3-speed hand transmission, and at the back of it, it's just got this big box. 2 wheels, so technically not bike of the week. We're going with trike of the week on this one. 2 wheels, big box at the back, and it was designed so they could get mechanics out to fix vehicles, and if they couldn't, they would use it to tow the vehicle to the next nearest sort of service place. That's sitting at Wars at the minute. If you're into historical stuff and you want to ride something that's a bit funky, like it's pristine, like it's absolutely gorgeous, like it's just rolled off the factory line yesterday, which is quite typical of Wars. If you look at their bikes, they're always cracking bikes that they've got out there. You're going to stick a link on so people can go and have a look at that. Have you ever heard of the Servi-Car before I sent it to you? Because on the ride today, I was chatting to people about Servi-Cars.
No, I haven't, to be honest with you. So obviously bike of the week, the idea was that we each went off and found a bike. And then you sent 2 links through. I looked at them. I was like, well, you've completed bike of the week for this week. So I stopped looking. So no, I haven't. Now I did do a little bit of digging into the WLs because obviously this is way back. And my history or my knowledge of the older bikes wouldn't be anything at all. But they did 2 types, didn't they? They did the 750 and they did the 1200. This one is the 750. It's got that real distinctive Springer front end, isn't it? I can always spot a Springer by the fender strut that they have. The front, the strut that comes down from the front of the fender. But no, never heard of them. Presumably, Servi-Car is a service car.
Yes.
Yeah. As a pillion, you're right up there, aren't you?
Absolutely, you are. Yeah.
You are perched
a bit like
way
the
up,
old
way
rumble
up.
seat in the cars.
Yeah.
So I think like the pillion was probably an afterthought in terms of what they were intending to do with it. As I said, it was about getting tools out to broken down vehicles. So I don't think the pillion was right up there on the thought process when they were putting it together. Yeah.
So this thing here is, again, if you're watching the video, you know, here it is, you're looking at it. If you're not, then if you're listening, there will be a link. But it's an old flathead engine. It's the side valve one, isn't it? It's in like a pearl white. It's got the old style seat. I love those seats. I think there's something super cool about those seats. It's an absolute find and a half. Now, stand by. £24,000 for this thing.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely buying a piece of history. I have never seen one.
I've never seen one in the flesh. Like, absolutely never seen one in the flesh. I've seen, like, programs about it. I've seen it in films and things like that. But I'd like to get a look at it. I know there's a couple of WLs. Actually, there's multiple WLs still being ridden in the UK. Gordon Dick has one. He bought that to Wake the Lakes a couple of years ago. So there is still a market out there for them. People like them. I did think about it, but then I thought I'm not mechanically minded enough to keep an old engine running. So if I'm going to buy another bike, it needs to be something that I can run away from my wife on without having to stop and fix things. So I'm not going to be putting an offer in, funnily enough.
Presumably, and of course, this is a kickstart.
I would guess so, yes.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the kickstart on it. It's got a kickstart pedal. So it obviously needs quite the bang. But so I might be wrong on this. So if I am, I'll apologize now. But I'm pretty sure that a load of the WLs that came back after the war, because they were wartime bikes, weren't they? They were the dispatch bikes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they were shipped back, dismantled, and then what they did is they were reassembled on the other side. I know it's certainly the case with another brand of motorcycle, but I'm pretty sure that any of the WLs that are running around, unless I've got this completely wrong, are not all of the original bits. They're all mixed up.
Ah, right. Okay. That would make sense.
Yeah, because obviously rather than
the
shipping...
Frankenstein bike.
Yeah, Frankenstein bike. But listen, it was a hell of a find, Ben. And I thought that you would have stopped at that and completed Bike of the Week and taken the crown. But you went in for the double blow, didn't you? This next bike, my God, tell us about this one.
I actually nearly sent you 3, but I thought I'd behave myself. So the next one then is a heavily modified Softail Slim that's been made to look like a 1960s police Electroglide, which is cool enough in itself. Like taking a modern bike, making it look like something so you would have the mechanical reliability to run away from your wife because you bought that Harley you weren't supposed to. But the thing that absolutely caps it, this was one of the 3 bikes used in the Indiana Jones film, The Dial of Destiny. So Harrison Ford wasn't on it, but there is a well-known actor pictured on it, and it seems to have the provenance to say that it was in... Oh, you're not going to pick me up on that? Okay, fair enough. It has the provenance to say... You just seem to like to pull me up on the words that I like to use. Provenance would be a fancy way of saying it's got the proof.
I know what provenance means. I know, yeah, no, that's the one word. That's one word I definitely know provenance of, yeah.
Okay, there we go. I got away with that one then. So it is a film bike. So it's been on the movie set. It was used in the film. It just looks really cool. And it got me thinking. So see, when I was looking this week, there were 2 bikes that were standing out a lot. The Softail Slim is a cool bike. I think it's an awesome looking bike. Really like it, but it's a really good platform for modifying, as is the Street Bob apparently. The amount of modified Street Bobs, I think that will be where the Sportster market, the old Sportster market with all the aftermarket goes into in terms of the modern bikes. But anyway, back to this. Awesome bike. We had a chat about it. Not sure if it's street legal. Seems to be components that you might require to get it through testing and things like that. So there's no obvious indicators. The front passing lamps, if you look at it in the film, they are an absolute bright red, as you'd expect from a police bike. Obviously, you can't display a bright red light at the front of a moving vehicle or a motor vehicle, so they're like a weird pinkish colour. But everything else seems to be the same way it was in the film, and it is a cool looking bike.
Yeah, this really is now price €22,000, which is about 19 grand. And I tell you what, I was walking my dogs today, having an outside and inside verbal battle about whether or not I could literally drive down and go and look at this and buy it. I wouldn't care at the moment if it was street legal. I would put that in my garage to keep as just, I have to do it. That's Indiana Jones, isn't it? Yeah.
It
cool.
is,
just in case. Yeah. Just making sure I didn't do Superman. I would go down and I would snap that bike up tomorrow. It is absolutely just what a find. How on earth did you find this one? Was it just sheer chance?
I have literally gone through every dealership in the UK, gone to the section that says bikes in stock, and scrolled.
Yeah. Listen, 2 absolutely...
And that stood out a mile.
Of course, yeah. I mean, absolutely. 2 cracking finds, Ben. I'll put links to both of them in the description. Yeah. Obviously, those of you that have been watching, you've been looking at the bikes there now. It'd be interesting to try and track down the buyer of this Indiana Jones one, as and when it gets sold.
Very much so.
I'd love
I
to
think
get
it might be one of those bikes that disappears. I think whoever buys it, they're going to do what you're going to do with it, aren't they? They're going to buy it and put it away somewhere, and it's going to be worth a fortune, hopefully, in the future. And a lot of those bikes, they just out into the mist, don't they? And they become this legend that was. Question for you, though, logistically, you said about just going down there and buying it. So I contemplated it. Can you do that? So could you go from Northern Ireland into Southern Ireland, buy a bike and just bring it back?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we don't have like the carnet situation here where you're sort of moving the bike from one jurisdiction to another. We could literally you could just go and buy that and bring it back up.
And could I do the same over here?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Anyone in the UK, in fact, anyone could buy this bike in the UK and Ireland. Because we fall under the Schengen agreement, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Now, if you were living in Spain or Germany or in Europe, I think it's a little bit different. But for the UK and Ireland, yeah, it would be like buying from home.
Do I have to pass your house from the boat to get down there?
That'll be absolutely fine. It'll be trying to pass my house the other way with the bike in tow.
I was just going to say to you, if you hear some brass band music coming out of a very loud Harley Davidson, it is not me beating you to Waterford to go and buy that bike. Now you gave me the crucial bit of information I didn't know.
There you go. Ben, I believe you have a couple of swords that you need to throw yourself onto, don't you?
I do, unfortunately, yes. So it was two things that I said last week that I just need to correct myself very quickly on. The Wibbly Wobblies are a BC. They're a bike club, not an MCC, and it just keeps them out of any bother. Just a good group of guys that are riding bikes. I called them an MCC. They're a BC. And we spoke about the demo ride team, and I don't know why I said it, because I have known this man for a good wee while. We have had lots of good conversations. He is not Duncan McMorran, which I think sounds a little bit more Scottish. He's Douglas McMorran, and still a lovely chap, and he was out there with the rest of the team riding hard and fast all weekend. So apologies to both of you. I misspoke, but I've corrected myself, so we're good, hopefully.
So there we go, folks. The week that was. Ben, as always, thanks very much. I know we went off on a few tangents this week. I'm going to have to a wee note to myself to make sure I'm properly medicated before I hit record next time, because I'm currently not medicated. But it's been good to have you back. It's been great to chat.
Yeah.
Loads there. And will you come back again next week?
Absolutely, if you'll have me. We definitely got stuck in a few cul-de-sacs, but the one thing I would like to mention, Kenny, thanks for not talking about your dad at any point in this episode.
Totally forgot. My therapist is actually finally paying off.
Absolutely, mate. Value for money.
There we go. Right, guys, thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.